Let's go.
I gotta get to class.
Yeah, me too. I'll catch up with you tonight.
Just in time.
Tell me about it.
You know, Mark, you don't have to shower just to come to Driver Ed.
Very funny.
Okay. Okay, Janet, let's go out and make a right on 11th Street. Now, we went over this in class, but it's worth repeating because it's so important. The first thing to remember about driving in the rain is to reduce your speed and leave a huge distance between yourself and the other cars. Now, why is that, Janet?
Well, visibility is bad, and so is traction.
Look at that tailgater.
The guy probably has a death wish.
Whenever there's reduced visibility from rain or snow or fog, you should drive with your headlights on so that other people can see you. Now, look at some of these cars.
What about driving with your parking lights?
Some people think that helps, but it doesn't help enough. There is no time where you should drive with just your parking lights on.
Well, how about in fog?
You might think you can see better in fog without your lights or with just your parking lights on. But what about the other drivers seeing you? All right, your headlights serve two purposes. They light your way, and they make you more visible to the other drivers. Just take a look. Our headlights don't help our visibility much. But look how much better we can see other cars. And that's real important in fog.
Well, what about using your brights?
That can make visibility worse. See, the light isn't just brighter, it's at a higher angle, and it just bounces back at you. So it's simple. Always use your low beam and never adjust your parking lights. Look, if the fog is thick, it's smart to get off the road. I mean, pileups happen because people just can't see far enough ahead. Lights or no lights. All right, Janet, try to ride your brakes lightly for a couple of seconds. Brake with the left foot and keep your right on the accelerator. This is one of the few times you should brake with the left foot. Now, why am I asking you to do that?
To dry out the brakes because we went through a puddle.
Good. Cindy, when are roads most slippery in the rain?
Always?
Mark?
Well, I think just after the rain starts.
Why?
Well, because the water stands up on the oil and the dirt and grit of the road when there's just a little bit of rain. And after it's been raining a while, all that stuff's washed away.
Good. Now, can you make a right up here? Is it okay to use cruise control when it's raining?
Sure.
Anyone else?
Well, you shouldn't use it anytime it's slippery.
Why not?
Because if you feel yourself slipping, you can't reduce your speed by taking your foot off the gas pedal.
I never heard of that.
That's true. Using cruise control in rain, ice, or snow can cause accidents. Now, if you're not using the cruise control, you can slow down by just easing your foot off the gas. And you'll do it a lot faster than turning off the cruise control with your hands.
Well, can't you just tap the brake quickly?
Even that fraction of a second can be critical. Look, if you started to skid, hitting your brakes can just make it worse. Now, if you want to maintain control, you just won't use cruise control when it's slippery. And the only time you should use it is when you're on a dry highway and there's little traffic. You got a little too close there, Cindy.
Sorry. I'm gonna go find Walker, see if he can give me a ride.
See ya.
Hey, you guys need a ride?
Oh, if you could, Robbie, that'd be great.
Okay, come on, let's go.
Thanks. Well, you know, Robbie, you can drive faster. You got front-wheel drive.
Front-wheel drive might give you traction, but the roads are still slick. And you know, you need just as much room to stop. Sometimes front-wheel drive gets people overconfident. See the tracks the car in front of us is leaving?
Yeah?
I'm trying to stay in them.
Why?
For traction.
Come on.
It's true, Mark.
Now, how can it do that?
You ever heard of hydroplaning?
Yeah.
If there's a film of water between your tires and the pavement, you're not going to get any traction. The faster you go, the more likely you'll hydroplane. Your wheels will spin and you'll lose control. You might not know it's happening till it's too late. It's a scary feeling.
If you stay in the tracks of other cars, there's less water there, and you'll be less likely to hydroplane.
But don't just follow the tracks. They could cross lanes, even go off the road. You've got to see the big picture at the same time.
You two are worse than Mr. Gerard.
If you think the roads are bad now, you should have seen what it was like when I was visiting my cousin in Michigan last winter.
Yeah, my brother says driving on ice and snow is pretty weird.
You have to handle the controls more gently, or else you'll skid. And if you skid, you have to know how to get out of it. What happens in a skid is that the back of the car tries to pass the front of the car. That'll turn you sideways or even all the way around.
So what do you do?
You've heard people say steer into the skid? Well, that's all right. But there's another way to think about it. Just steer the front of the car so you keep it ahead of the back of the car. It might sound stupid, but it works.
What about pumping your brakes?
People talk about doing that, but it doesn't work so hot nowadays. For a classic car like mine, it's okay, but not with these modern disc brakes. What you've got to do is press on the brakes gently and don't let them lock. It's like squeezing a sponge, steady, but not too fast. Whenever my cousin's coming up to a stop he thinks might be slippery, he goes into neutral. It makes a difference, especially when the engine is cold and idling fast. Another thing is, brake before you go into a turn. If you brake in a turn, it could cause a skid. If you feel the wheels lock, let off the brakes and gently press on the pedal again, but not too hard. Constant pressure's the trick.
Mr. Gerard said that the best way to deal with skids is to avoid them.
Any dummy can tell you that.
Well, he's right, isn't he?
Of course he's right. Sure, you have to be sharper when the weather's bad, but driving isn't tough. Just know what's happening around.
If it's so easy, why are there so many accidents in bad weather?
People get overconfident. They drive too fast. It doesn't take much brains to figure out you've got to do things a little different. Leave yourself more room, stay in control, and watch out for that other guy who isn't as smart as me.
Give me a break.
Don't you know you're with a pro?